My name's Patrick Foley, and this is my review of After The Bleep for UK Film Review. This is a very short film by director and star Ryan Nunes. The film is a short about a man making a number of abandoned phone call attempts to his father during the holiday period. Through the calls, it's evident that initially the man Jake just wants to wish his father happy holidays and send his good wishes, but as he continues to make a number of calls, it's evident that the experience is very anxiety inducing for him. As he makes more and more calls, the content and tone of them vary more and more extremely. Some of them he's begging for his father's love and affection. Others he's angry and aggressive and furious that he was abandoned by his dad in his eyes. And at the end of the film, he makes a direct call to his father rather than leave an answering message, where it would appear from what we see that the dad answers, and the film makes it clear that the experience is more therapeutic for Jake than leaving a message that he hasn't rehearsed, hasn't thought about in detail, and to just let his emotions come out naturally, which is where the film ends. I really enjoyed After The Bleep. I thought it was a very interesting way to tell a very straightforward and simple story that has a lot of layers and build two characters with real depth and complexity, even though one of them isn't seen or heard from during the entire course of the film. Told by just using a series of phone calls and not even phone calls, like attempts at phone calls. The director, Ryan Nunes, who also stars in the film as Jake, manages to tell a familial story of a father and son, one which clearly has impacted deeply on the leading character Jake, who is trying to come to terms with processing his emotions over his dad, who he has a lot of love and respect for, but also still questions deeply the choices that his father made and how they've impacted on him. It's a relatable and understandable topic, that questioning of our parents' role and our family role in our lives, that many of the audience will be able to relate to, and to be told in such a simple way but so impactfully, is really, really impressive. Nunes' performance itself is really good as well. He brings a sort of bubbling but still restrained emotional state to Jake that erupts in certain moments, both positively and negatively, towards his dad as the calls go on. Some of the dialogue is slightly cliched and feels a little bit inauthentic, or a little bit over dramatized, but this is generally just used to sort of structure a scene around. It's really more about the kind of the small emotions we see Jake processing as he makes the calls. The camera is fixed mostly on his face for nearly the entire film, and you can really sort of catch the intricacies that tell more of the story even than some of the eye-catching words he uses and the sort of heightened lowered tones that we also hear from him during the performance. It is really great, given that it is solely reliant on Nunes to tell the story in how he frames Jake throughout the film. There's some really interesting visual storytelling as well in the film. For the first sort of half or so, Jake is framed off center. It reflects his lack of confidence and the anxiety being his sort of overwhelming feeling at that point in the film, as he tries to build the confidence up to phone his dad. And then as the film progresses, the camera focuses more directly on him and frames him centrally as he becomes more driven by his emotions and more confident in speaking to his dad, both again as driven by anger as well as a desire to build a bridge with him. It just is a really good way of reflecting how he is growing in confidence through the film. I think there was maybe a missed opportunity to build a bit more sense that the film is taking place during the holidays. The entire movie takes place in Jake's apartment, and as Jake is feeling isolated and lonely, it's maybe understandable that it's not all Christmas themed, and that sort of matches the sort of tone of the film. But I do think it is significant that the time of year would perhaps heighten where Jake's emotions are, and there's not really any of that in the film other than in the words Jake speaks to confirm that is why he's calling. It's not something that really impacts on how impressive the movie is, but it does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity that could have just added that little bit extra context to the film. But all in all, this is a really great example of very quick, short, straightforward storytelling that really accomplishes a lot more in just under 4 minutes than plenty of films can accomplish, given 3 or 4 times that. The short story will connect with so many people for a various different ways, and for that I think it's really an impressive short piece of work.